Hi, Captain Steve from BoatTEST.com, and today I'm on Grady-White's Adventure 218. Now, this is an all-new model from Grady-White, and it's a culmination of everything they've learned with the walk-around that Grady-White really pioneered. A lot of thoughtful features going into this boat, so let's take a look at them as I do my full features inspection and performance evaluation. There are two features that I find really interesting about this boat. First of all, it's a 21-foot boat, and when I say 21, I mean Grady-White measures from the bow right to the transom here, not the swim platforms, not the engine, so a true 21-foot boat, but it has the feel of a much larger boat. I'm going to say 28, 30 feet from my experience, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's not an 8-foot beam, it's an 8-foot 6-inch beam, and you'd be surprised how much room you get from that additional 6 inches. Let me point out some examples. Firstly, we get a roomy cockpit. It's 7 feet between the padded bolsters, with the top coming up 24 full inches, 4 feet 4 inches from the seat to the seat. So there's plenty of room to move about. This is a great fishing boat, and it's also a great entertainment platform because we have nice gathering going on here. That extra 6 inches also manifests itself as we come forward. We've got 2 seats that are actual seats, not those plastic bucket seats. These are from Pomponette. They've got flip-down armrests. They swivel around to join the crowd, and we've got plenty of space in between the seats. Take a look at the bulwarks. It narrows down as we come up to the side decks. That's an interesting feature, and it gives us 9 inches to the side decks to both sides of this walk-around cabin. And lastly, look at the size of this door. Not only is it a bifold top, but it's also bifold lower, and now we've got 21 inches, which makes it so easy to get in and out of this cabin. Really, that 6 inches manifests itself all over this boat. Now let's get into some of the functionality of this boat. It's an adventure, so we can have many adventures on this, starting with fishing. 2 boxes just behind the forward seats. This one is a live well 25 gallon. This one is a fish box 106 quarts. It's also insulated so we can use it as a cooler to put all our ice and drinks in. And of course we've got undergunnel rod storage and tow rails. Padded bolsters going all around. We've got rod holders in the cap rails, plus going up the supports for the optional hardtop, and then across the trailing edge. And I like how these are at a comfortable height where they're easy to reach. And we've also got spreader lights lighting up this whole cockpit deck. And the hardtop is pre-rigged for outriggers. And to round out our fishing features, we've got casting platforms to both sides, and we can even use the seat back to brace ourselves while we're working a fish. Now, a big appeal of this boat to me is how easily it transitions into a family fun boat. First thing we're going to do is take the raw water washdown, hose this whole boat down, and then take a look at this. These platforms that I was standing on, flip it right over, and now you've got a cushion to both sides. Then we can take the seat back, bring it out, and now we've got easy access to the swim platform and the reboarding ladder. This can happen over to the other side as well, where we can even board from the boat while it's up against the dock. And notice we can also swing the seat back outwards so that it becomes a seat back for the swim platform. These seats actually make a very comfortable spot to sit back and relax and enjoy the ride. Notice forward, cushions can go on top of the boxes here, as we've seen here, and in this position, you've got the seat back with an extended base that makes the seat back comfortable enough. So now we're joining the crowd here. Or we can leave that cushion off and use it as a footrest while we're sitting in this seat, watching the back of the boat as an observer for, say, water sports. And that's going to be accommodated with this pylon that automatically extends just by releasing a catch. Right alongside is a freshwater shower. And this is plumbed to the 10-gallon water tank. Cushions in the bow make a bench seat 29 inches across. The cabin really makes this into a family camper. Headroom starts at 35 inches at the door. As we move forward, it drops down to 28 inches, and then fully forward, it goes down to a low of 16 inches. The full length of the berth, 6 feet 2 inches. Couple of neat features. There's a padded bolster going all the way around. I'd like to see that come out a couple of inches maybe and just have a small shelf there so we can put stuff in. Fully forward, there's access to the road locker. And then we have a head. A portable head is standard. Pump out is optional. There are opening port lights to both port and starboard for ventilation. And I really think this indirect lighting is much more pleasant than, say, the spot reading lights that are usually put in boats. A forward hatch adds more natural light and ventilation, and interestingly enough, it can be opened with the cushion in place. Now, one important feature that's not lost on me is I notice that when this is closed, the door is ventilated. We've also got the forward hatch that has screens and the two side ports that can be screened. So that's 4 sides that we've got ventilation coming from, flowing through this cabin. Now let's move on to operational features. We'll start here in the bow, where we've got rails that come up 22 inches high. There's an optional anchor roller, and just behind that, there's an anchor locker. This also has an anchor keeper in case we don't want to go with the anchor roller. What I'd like to see is a cleat in the middle for securing that anchor. 6-inch pull-up cleats are both port and starboard. Now this is kind of neat. There's a turn and lock latch right at the top of the hatch. Usually we see them in the center and they're hidden which way they're going to turn. So more often than not, when you get underway, hatch flips open because you don't know if it's latched or not. Here, pretty easy to see. And now we'll move on to the helm, which is starboard side mounted. It's a fiberglass console with a upholstered brow. There's a compass in the center. Flat panel to house your electronics of choice, which will be installed by the dealer. Here we've got a 12-inch. There's a Yamaha display right alongside. Electrical switches are all in a row below, which leaves the display higher up and more in the line of sight. Nice touch there. There's a small cubby for putting stuff, beverage holder to the left, and then there's a Fusion stereo. The steering wheel is mounted to a tilt base. Your start-stop button just alongside, and your digital engine control is over to the right-hand side mounted to the bulwarks. Up above, again, a dealer-installed radio. To the side, there are beverage holders, a speaker, a connection port, and then below, there's storage that's about an ideal size for holding all of the covers for the electronics. Now, all of this is under the protection of the optional hardtop that's 6 feet 4 inches off the deck, and it's pretty feature-packed. There are LED lights, and they're 3-color. Holder for your life jackets, and of course, we've got the supports that are being used for the rocket launcher-style rod holders. Additionally, there are tracks along the sides and the back so that we can enclose this whole area along with the front to make this into a real 3-season boat. Engine choices, you can go with this 250 horsepower Yamaha outboard with integrated digital electric steering, or you can go with the 200 horsepower with bolt-on hydraulic steering. Just ahead, there's a freshwater flush, making it easy to flush out the engine for those saltwater boaters. Now, aside from all of the features that we just discussed, there are some thoughtful touches and safety that Grady-White builds into their boats. First of all, we've got the CV2 hull that's going to give us excellent handling capabilities. We've got a self-draining cockpit and foam flotation that's only required in boats from 20 feet or less. Grady-White does it in the whole lineup. Now let's get underway and take a look at the performance numbers. The Grady-White Adventure 218 has length overall of 23 feet 3 inches, a beam of 8 feet 6 inches, and a draft of 16 inches. With an empty weight of 3,650 pounds, half fuel, 3 people, and test power, we had an estimated test weight of 5,143 pounds. With a single 250 horsepower Yamaha V6 turning a 15 by 15 3/4 prop and run up to 5,900 RPM, our speed topped out at 44.8 miles per hour. Best cruise was reached at 3,500 RPM and 25.9 miles per hour. It was at that speed that the 8.1 gallon per hour fuel burn translated into 3.2 miles per gallon and a range of 288 statute miles, all while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's 100 gallon total fuel capacity. In acceleration tests, we reached planing speed in an average 2.7 seconds, cruised through 20 miles per hour in 5.3, and onward past 30 in 8.2 seconds. A couple of points to make when you're driving this boat. She's a very nice handling boat. I love the CV2 hull and the performance that we get out of it. We've got a narrow channel here, so I could do a lot of hard performance turns, but making S-turns showed me that she does grip the water nicely and lean into the turns to make that turn comfortable. When we accelerate, she's got a good bow rise, so don't be shy about hitting that throttle. Get the speed up, get her up on plane, and then you can pull it back to whatever manageable speed you want. But you want to get up and over that hump, so give her full throttle to do that. When you get up on plane, I stopped counting how many notches of trim on the gauge I was going up. It was easier for me to say, go up until I leave 3. So Bring blue all the way up, leave 3 to the top of the gauge, and that'll be where you want to be. You'll get your best performance and you'll get your best handling characteristics that way. But fun boat to drive. This is a really nice family boat to be on. Aside from being impressed with how deceptively roomy this boat is for a 21-footer, I'm also impressed with its functionality and versatility that make it such a wonderful family recreational vehicle. And that's my full features inspection and performance evaluation of the Adventure 218 from Grady-White. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.